Joining us now is former Executive Secretary of National Health Insurance and a Professor of Hematology Oncology, Usman Yusuf, to speak on the state of the nation and how Nigeria is faring amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome, Professor. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
Yeah.
Same to you, Kenny.
Yes. So I think the rave, if you like, is all on COVID-19 and the variant and the fact that numbers are going up, not down. So what state should we be in, especially in the present time of Christmas? How should we comport ourselves?
Right. It's simple. Everywhere in the world, there are things that can stop us from getting COVID-19. It's simple. I mean, PTF has said it, and it's all over the world. Reduce crowd gathering, wash your hands, and mask. This is what we have. This is the most effective way to prevent COVID. Anybody that tells you anything else is not saying the right thing. So people need to be very patient, stop gathering, stop the overcrowding in places of worship, during celebrations, wash your hands and mask up. These are the things that will see us through this pandemic before the vaccine comes. This is the advice.
All right. The PTF, the president has given them go-ahead for some more time to continue with what they are doing. And then the chairman, I think, said something like, the chairman of the PTF, said something like, the isolation centers should not be closed, particularly with this new wave. What do you make of the new mandate for the PTF and the comment by the PTF chairman?
Right. So God has been merciful to Nigeria, in spite of the fact that 2020 has been a rocky year. But God has been very merciful to us. We were expecting a lot higher mortality than we have seen. We were expecting a lot higher morbidity than we have seen. And we are waiting for the scientific figures to tell us why we've escaped that. It's not the story is not the same in South Africa or Brazil or Ecuador or Mexico, countries that can compare with us. So we are still not out of the woods. We are nowhere near out of the woods. So we should continue to listen to what authorities are telling us, and congregating should be discouraged. Yes, we should open our isolation centers and not close them. And we should be very, very vigilant. The vigilance is testing. Only when you test can you know who you have, who to isolate, who to treat. So let's take all the information the PTF is telling us to be true.
Just one more question on the state of our health as a nation before we move on to other matters of insecurity. God has been merciful to us, you say, but isn't it about time we put things in place to help ourselves? I see that you're the former executive of the National Insurance Scheme. Why has this scheme taken so long to come on board nationally? Because clearly, if COVID-19 is telling us anything, is that we're not in any fit state, had COVID-19 struck as it was predicted, to handle this kind of a catastrophe because of the state of our health care?
Good. It's a very good question. And I've appeared in other TV fora before. COVID-19 tests three things on any nation. One, the quality of the healthcare of the nation, the quality of human investment in healthcare, and the quality of governance of any nation. These are the three things that this pandemic tests. And any country that has a problem in any of the legs of these tripods will have serious problem. We thought we were going to have massive problems because we have problems with all of these legs. God has been merciful to us, and we have not seen what we thought we would see. I thought the government would use this as an opportunity to improve our health infrastructures. I hope this government would use this opportunity with all the money accumulated to improve our hospitals, to improve on supply of PPEs, to improve on the quality of staff in our healthcare system. But I haven't seen that. So it's, honestly, if you ask me, it's been a missed opportunity. I hope we'll do better. There is a lot of money that has been expended on COVID-19 with little or nothing to see on the ground. That's a discussion for another day. But yes, it's an opportunity we are missing. It's an opportunity we need to fix our health infrastructure all over the country. Many of our hospitals, government hospitals, are nothing but consulting clinics.
Yeah.
And we saw that if you have money, if you have jets, you're going nowhere. So you better fix your infrastructure if you want to improve your health care. And we haven't done that. We need to do that.
Someone has said that the day that people in authority stop flying abroad to get medical treatment, that maybe these health institutions and other institutions in Nigeria will begin the work. One doesn't know how true that will work out. But let's go on to some other subjects. The president, in his message on Christmas message, if you like, he said he's recommitting to the security of Nigerians, and he's appealing to the citizens to cooperate with the military by volunteering intelligence.
So what am I supposed to make of that? I mean, we've been at war for the last 12 years in the north. We've been at war for the last 12 years in the northeast and the whole of the north, and 5-6 years. And we're asking people now to volunteer. In the northwest, people are very happy to volunteer information. And in the northeast, people are too. Civilian JTF was as a result of the youth in Borno rising up and against Boko Haram. So what more do they need? Government needs to step up to protect people. And I don't want this passing the buck to the people. Government has not done as it should do. Blood is being shed all across the north. And we need to see government protecting our people. We are not seeing that. So this pushing the buck and saying people need to give information and all that, people are doing their best. And government needs to appreciate that. And government needs to protect them from these bandits and insurgents. What more do you want them to do?
We appreciate your frankness.
What more do we expect of people?
We appreciate your frankness. However, we know recently you must have observed how government were able to retrieve the 344 Kankara schoolboys, so at least we can commend them for that. But I want to go to something you said recently on one of our flagship programs, where you mentioned the use of essentially vigilante bodies to try and remedy the situation. So we're looking to solutions now. Do you see any challenges with that, what you were proposing?
No, I don't, because the honest truth, I've said it many times before and I've written, there are not enough armed forces or there are not enough policemen to protect our people in our villages. In Katsina, one policeman guards 3 villages. Many of these villages have never seen anything government, local, state or federal. No water, no electricity, no nothing, and we cannot protect them to go to the farm. So the honest truth, and these bandits go every day into these villages. Just 2 days ago, they went to the suburb of Katsina, 5-10 minutes drive to Katsina, Batagarawa, and killed the village head and his wife and carted away people. It's a common occurrence all over. In Jibia 2 days ago, they stopped a commuter bus and took away the passengers into the forest. It's like slave trade now. They are cutting our people into the forest, and people are having to sell their meager resources to get their loved ones out. So yes, I have said it before and I'll say it again. Government needs to empower and mobilize our people to protect themselves in a very controlled way before it gets out of hand, everybody carrying his arm. And we can do that by what I advocated, community defense force. Every little village, people must be trained, responsible youths, armed to protect their homeland. And there needs to be forest guards. Federal government needs to think, this is where these bandits live, in the forest. And our armed forces do not have foot on the ground to be in the forest. So we need to train forest guards to control our forests. We don't have control of our forests, we'll never have security in the north or anywhere else. That's where they live, that's where they kidnap our people too. And we remain in the city, and they keep coming. And they are into Kano. A few days ago, they went to Minjibur in Kano and carted away people. So it is Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina, Kaduna, Kogi, Nasarawa, now into Kano, Adamawa, Yobe, Borno. It's everywhere.
Oh.
So people must be immobilized and armed to protect themselves in a very controlled way before it gets out of hand.
Now,
every day is getting worse. It's not getting any better.
Yeah, let me follow up on that. It's good you're saying, you're adding, because of course power without control is destructive, is deadly. You're adding in a very controlled way. I was thinking the danger in arming people, because I know that Omoteku, they're not even allowed to carry guns, as it were. So how do you then control? What do you mean by what's your idea of a controlled way? Thinking about the danger of people carrying guns.
Yeah, there are more guns now in the hands of bad people, bad guys than the good guys, and it is bad guys that are the bandits. I was listening to one of this kid that was interviewed, that was kidnapped in Kankara. What he was saying was there were kids, little kids with big guns. Little kids with big guns terrorizing the nation. A nation that has a full armed forces, a nation that has a police force, a nation that has an intelligence service, been terrorized by ragtag, untrained, unschooled bandits. We can control this in every village, in every part of this country. There are village heads, there are traditional rulers, there are churches and mosques that can mobilize 50 responsible youths and arm them to protect their villages. We have to do that. I mean, I don't see any other way of doing that. Buying jets or helicopters will not stop anything. I mean, they came into Kankara on hundreds of motorcycles at night at 9 p.m., carted away 344 children into the forest. Even if it is 344 loaves of bread you put in a car, you can't do that. But you carted away these kids in a place where it's surrounded by Air Force assets, Armed Forces assets, the police, DSS. And we negotiated with them, pleaded with them, did whatever we did to them and got these kids back. Now the danger is in the north. They have won because no parent will send his kids back to school when the kids are not protected.
Yeah, you talked about negotiation.
So it is the responsibility of government to do the right thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, you talked about negotiation.
Go ahead.
And that brings me to the question of talks about Miyetti Allah, helping out. The army saying they rescued them. The issue of state police, will that be a panacea to all these insecurity problems? What are the stumbling blocks, or if you like, traps in having state police? And of course, the question I talked about, Miyetti Allah coming in to negotiate.
Yeah, I was not part of the negotiation. I'm not part of Miyetti Allah or the government. And to be honest with you, I don't want to go into that. I mean, for us to get a nation into negotiating with unrepentant bandits, arsonists, rapists really makes my blood boil. Okay. It just shows failure.
Okay, Professor, let me turn your attention to
he didn't tackle
you would like him to
the issue of state police being
state
the
state
stumbling
police
block, the traps in it.
Good. Right. I talked the other day when I was here on one of your shows that call it whatever. We need policing at the local level. I'm 60, I'm old enough to know about native police. So call it whatever. We need policing at the local level. Call it police, government police, state police, federal police. We need more numbers that we do not have while our people are continue to be killed. But in the interim, these are extraordinary times that require extraordinary but strategic measures. We need to protect our people in our villages. They are not protected. Our women have been raped, cattle rustled, our people are being killed every day. Our women are sleeping in the forest. These guys come again and again and again. And the economy in the north has moved now to the forest. All the money now is in the forest. The bandits have them. They catch a bandit that they say got ₦1 million, and when he's questioned, how much were you given? He tells us 10,000. So where is the rest of the money? Our intelligence agencies need to tell us where the money is going to. Our banks need to tell us where is this money going into. They don't have banks in the forest. What are all these millions going to? Who are the top guys? These guys are just foot soldiers of some people. It's a failure of intelligence, it's a failure of governance that is killing our people. And all I'm saying is that all of us, our traditional rulers, our clerics, and our elders, we need to speak up. This cannot continue. We've had enough. Our people are continuing to be killed, and we do not see any way forward.
I'm glad you're calling on the various arms, various leaders. But I want to turn our attention to what I would call the real weapon of warfare being leveled against Nigerians, and I would call that disunity. So in as much as you're advocating for local police or, vigilante, what do you say to the fact that many people have said that the real war is being won in the hearts of men? You referenced the young boys with the guns. They have been somehow brought in on the side of the bandits. So how do we deal with this situation where the hearts of the people are divided?
Which people? All Nigerians?
Well, you could start with Nigerians, but even in the north where they are victims, you find that they're still able to win over some people onto the side of the bandits. How else would you explain young boys at no more than 9 years old, or more than, but at least some at the age of 9, with guns?
Yes, good. And that's correct. You see, this banditry in the north has been studied exhaustively by a professor at Ahmad Bello University, Professor Sadiq. And the report has been presented and handed over by the federal government. It's not only military, the sociology of the problems. Nobody is given any of these criminals any excuse, either these bandits or Boko Haram. That is because you do this, that's why they are doing this. But the main problem, and I said it in the previous papers I wrote, insecurity is nothing but a symptom of corruption and bad governance. End of story. In a place where you have a lot of inequality, in a place where you have massive poverty, illiteracy, out-of-school children, no job for young people, and continuing corruption, you can never have peace. So we have to look at the real root of this problem. It is nothing but corruption and bad governance.
All right, before...
These two. You fix them, you fix that.
Yeah. Before we let you go, some other thing, the NIN and the SIM registration, I was asking a staff of NIN yesterday, because I read it in the paper, and one wondered that the BVN, if you have your BVN, automatically it harmonizes with your NIN number. But there seemed not to have been information concerning this, because I was talking to him about my daughter, the first one having her BVN, and so do I need to still come to your office? He said no, that was what they were asking for, their BVN. What do you make of the whole saga of the BVN, of the NIN, the SIM, and cutting off your lines, and the fact that adequate information was not passed on that if you have your BVN, you can generate your NIN number?
Good. I mean, I am one of the strongest advocates and critic of this government for having allowed these bandits and these insurgents to be using the phone for their nefarious activities, to shut down all these all these unregistered SIM cards. And that is why they are doing this. And the whole idea of marrying the name with the this thing is a noble and a good idea. And it's an opportunity for NIMSI to register every Nigerian. The only organization in this country that is allowed to do biometrics for identification is NIMSI. BVN is for financial activities. And what percentage of my poor folks in Katsina have BVN number? But the timing is wrong with all the crowding. They have to go back to the drawing board and re-strategize again. So, getting it, but they can go to the telco. The telco will tell you any phone call that is made bounces to their tower and tell you the location of where the person is. Security agencies need to work with the telco and local community to detect where these criminals are calling us from and getting money. And that is a problem. So this NIMSI, they will go back to the drawing board and do the right thing. But yeah, we need to marry every card to something you can identify that person with. That is the noble idea. The way it's done is having a problem. I'm sure they will do better.
Okay, Professor.
But before I go, let me thank...
Please don't go yet.
Go ahead.
I have an additional question for you.
Go ahead.
You spoke of illiteracy as one of our handicaps, national handicaps. What do you make of this cycle of ASUU strikes in the light of the fact that we just came out of a 9-month strike and already we hear rumors that they are threatening to strike again in February if their conditions are not met or if the government doesn't hold to their own side of the bargain? What do you make of this?
All right. Yeah, it saddens me in many, many ways. I am a beneficiary of a university system in this country. A very good university system. We went into the world and competed favorably. The best centers in the world. From our centers here, what has changed over the years is neglect of our educational system. So you and I are taking our kids, and many people in government, how many people in government, in the House or in the cabinet, have their children in public schools? When we were growing up, there were no private university. Everybody sent his kid to school. We, the children of the poor and the children of the rich, lined up and went to school. So neglect over the years. And ASUU is, half the fight ASUU is fighting is for the betterment of the schools. So government needs to listen to everybody and find a way, a middle ground to satisfy legitimate demands of unions while doing the right thing for our children. Our children have been home for a whole year wasted. This is the longest ASUU strike. So you have a place where we are at home, our kids are at home because of COVID. They are home because of this. And we are surprised there was ANSA's demonstration. If these kids stay for too long, there's going to be trouble in this country. We shouldn't. We should listen to ASUU, take care of their legitimate demands, and ASUU need to be reasonable. Open school, let our kids go back to school.
All right. You wanted to say something.
Am I allowed to?
I hope you didn't forget it so you can say
right,
it before.
Finally. No, I didn't. I mean, finally, yeah, good. I didn't. Finally, I'd love to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and thank Arise Television for covering Katsina and Ankara crisis when these kids were abducted. And I want to especially thank, on behalf of my family, my wife asked me to thank our Arise TV News resident reporter in Katsina, Mohammed Awal Ibrahim, and Ms. Amaka Okoye. She was there. She was there all over, at risk to her life. But she brought this news to the world. And I thank both of them for their professionalism and Arise News for giving this important story a coverage. Thank you all, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas to you, Prof. Thank you
you
for appreciating what Arise is doing. We're just doing our job. Thank you so much, Professor.